Hi, a warm welcome from Exasol. My name is Matthias. I'm a CTO of Exasol, and today we have a very, very interesting webinar in our series. I welcome Miklos Czirfusz, data analyst and systems engineer from DIMOCO, who has a very interesting, very technical story about how to modernize a data warehouse and how to boost the performance and tune the data warehouse. So without any further ado, Miklos, maybe you want to talk a little bit about DIMOCO, what you're doing, what is your background, and then dive directly into the story of your analytics boost.
Thank you, Matthias. Thank you for your welcome, and thank you for your participation in the webinar. In this session, I will talk about how we introduced Exasol in our data warehouse and BI environment as an accelerator, how we operate this hybrid BI, and what was the step, what were the challenges of this introduction, why we did this, and what are the advantages of that. So I'll go to the next slide. So shortly about the company. DIMOCO stands for Direct Mobile Communication. I explain later why this is direct mobile communication. Today, we are a payment institution, an Austrian licensed and regulated payment institute. The owners of the company are two brothers named Tauchner, and it's privately owned in Austria, and we are principal member of MasterCard and Visa at the moment. And the company was established in 2000. So last year in 2025, we celebrated our 25th anniversary with a great party. Okay. To my person, my name is Miklos Czirfusz, and I joined the company in 2006. I began here in the company as a Java entwickler. I was an enthusiast software engineer, and mainly we programmed web-based application with database Oracle, and later I programmed. We didn't have a data warehouse at the beginning, and I was responsible for developing the statistics. It was a Java Struts application with Oracle database. And then in 2014 or 13, we decided to introduce data warehouse, and then we began to implement this also in Java, and we built up our data warehouse. And later then in 2014, we also decided to introduce a business intelligence tool. And then my chief asked who wants to make business intelligence, and because I programmed this this statistics tool, I thought, okay, why not? And okay, I changed to this business intelligence and data warehousing thing. My private interests are, you can read, mainly nutrition. I do a lot of sports, and I like history. I like traveling and learning languages. At the moment, I'm learning Italian.
Perfect. Thank you, Miklos. Maybe for the housekeeping, I totally forgot to mention that you can also ask questions in the tool. So we will have a Q&A session at the very end. And if you have certain specific questions to the slides, to the story, to the background of Miklos, then please put them into the system, and then we can discuss them later on. First question I have, Miklos, coming from software engineering and then moving over to business intelligence and data warehousing. So you explained a little bit the reason, because your boss asked the team, but looking back, what was the difference between the two jobs, being a software developer and then being more a data engineer, data analyst, or systems engineer?
Okay, yes, as I mentioned, I programmed this statistic tool at the beginning, and I realized that I like this data analyzation very much, that the data are exact, and how I grab the data from aggregated data or from transactional data. And as I already mentioned, we were asked who wants to do this, who wants to change to business intelligence, and there were no much people who wanted to do that. But because, okay, they said in the software engineering, oh no, then I cannot code any longer, and so on and so forth. And this didn't disturb me, because I knew that when I changed to this tool, the programming of the will not finish. And at the moment, I also write code, and I don't miss coding and programming, but it's to install and operate this business intelligence and do the data warehousing and write ETL processes is a very interesting thing. And I'm really a quiet person, and I like analyze data, and so that was the reason. Okay, there's I can play a video of our company, and in some words I can then explain what are our businesses. Oh, sorry. Okay, that is wanted to show. So our business has three business units. As I saw, the first, and this is the original business of DIMOCO, and therefore the name Direct Mobile Communication. This is the carrier billing, and in the past we had also messaging, mobile messaging. What is carrier billing? Carrier billing is not clear for everybody. We were also not as I entered the company. And this is practically a payment method that you get your bill or with your mobile subscriber invoice from your network provider. And messaging was also part of the business. So, for example, when you took your car to the service and the car was finished, and you got an SMS, okay, you can take your car is finished, then it was machine to machine or machine to mobile subscriber SMS sending. Okay, acquiring services, this is credit card business and open banking. You may know this is a small business of us, so you can choose your payment method and select your bank, and over this bank the money transfer is done. Okay, so these are the three main. On the next slide, we see here, for example, in Germany, we have a customer Nextbike. If you hire a bike, you go to the landing page or to the page or to the app of Nextbike, and if you make the payment for this hire, you can choose here. You can see the carrier billing. And then this amount is presented in your mobile invoice, what you get from your provider, for example, from O2, Vodafone, etc. We are obliged to sell digital and non-digital goods. So digital are mainly dating, lottery, sports betting, online gaming, cloud gaming, etc. And later, we got the license also to sell non-digital goods. These are mainly some services as electrovoltaic charging for the public transport. For example, in Leipzig, in Germany, there is a Leipziger Verkehrsbetriebe is one of our customer. Then parking tickets, car sharing. So these are the main customers of us. Okay, but let's go back. I mentioned that we built up a data warehouse, and then we introduced the BI. We built up the BI, so our data warehouse was a good one, I think. So it was the normalization was okay, and that the data consistency as everything was fine, and it was built up on Oracle. And then when we introduced the BI tool, it's MicroStrategy at the moment, we realized that the BI tool has so-called cubes, data cubes, which has to be loaded every day or every hour, whatever. And we realized that this is the cube loading is not, it's slow, sometimes slow, not too stable, sometimes it is broken, so it doesn't finish. Yes, and we thought, okay, we have to do something. The other reason was that we don't only have aggregated data in our company. We also make analyzations on transactional data, and the amount of the data is very huge. And these cubes also not loaded, or it took very long. So it was really tough. We have then also in Oracle read the explain tables for indexing, and then we made the indices, and it doesn't work as we wanted, or we didn't have this knowledge. I don't know. But it was then tough.
Miklos, one question. The legacy system was Oracle. What was the reason? Because the underlying transactional system was also on Oracle, or what was the decision for the legacy system?
Yes. That was exactly the reason. As I came to DIMOCO, we had Oracle. So those were our transactional systems, and we had this. Yes, and I think that was the reason why we built up a data warehouse on it, on a new instance. Yes, but I must say we don't have the enterprise edition, and exactly for transactional data we have. So in our business, the problem is we have a lot of small transactions on relatively small amounts, but a lot of them, and perhaps in one month we had 40 million transactions, and we didn't have the enterprise edition, and in the enterprise edition is included that you can automatically partition the tables, and we couldn't do this, and we began to write. We implemented the partitioning on our own, but and we summarized it in a view, but okay, that was not so efficient, I think. And then I was always sitting together with a consultant. It was a very good consultant, very good consultant for BI. So he taught me BI, how to deal with it correctly. And one day we are sitting, and I thought I was telling him, or we saw the problems together, and okay, why is it so? What shall we do? And in reality, he recommended me Exasol. Okay, say, hey, there is a community edition, and have you ever heard this? I said no, but let's try it. And Exasol had the community edition. It was the version 6. It was in 2017, and okay. I download. Okay, I said, okay, let's try this. Can we install? Has it a good connection? Can I connect MicroStrategy easily? And I could connect. So I began to evaluate Exasol, and that was the beginning with the community edition. Okay. So as I mentioned here, in the legacy architecture, you can say, okay, we have this transactional data, carrier billing, billing data from the billing system. So the data from the CRM system, it was all loaded to Oracle. As I mentioned, we had a complex partitioning, and slow ATL. And the ATL tools partly slow, relatively. It was in okay. And then I installed Exasol in a virtual machine. I began to write ETL processes to make an extraction from the Oracle to the Exasol. And then I built up a project in MicroStrategy or in our BI tool, which was reading from the Exasol. So it was a tryout project. I created the project, and when I created my semantic layer, I had some data. the advantage was also that I didn't have the whole data warehouse in Exasol, so it was only a part. I transferred the data what we needed for the BI, and not more, not less. And Exasol was very stable, and it with the self indexing feature, and it was really a light thing. Some with administration also included. And later, as you can see here, we got the acquiring services business. And in case of acquiring services, I installed another instance of the community edition. So we had two community editions, one for carrier billing, and the credit card data wasn't stored or persisted to the Oracle data warehouse. It was immediately transferred to Exasol. And then I created this project in the BI and added some keywords. Hey, use this. Or when I implemented a new, or when we implemented a new project or a report, I implemented it on Exasol. So it was reading from Exasol, and step by step. All the reports, or all the new reports, and sometimes the old reports were deleted, and the new reports were all implementing reading from Exasol. And according to that fact, I transferred from Oracle the needed data.
So maybe one last question, Miklos, before you continue. During that migration process, did you have any specific challenges in BETL?
Oh yes, that I forgot to mention. I go back. I don't go back, because you can hear also. It's not really the truth here with the archive, but okay. I go back, and you can see here the acquiring services data. In the acquiring services data, we have the problem. So the transformation from the Oracle to Exasol, it's synchronous. So I read it, write it, perfect. But in case of acquiring services, we get a credit card transaction, and this could be transferred also synchronous. The problem is that in case of credit cards, there are immediately a lot of changes of transactions. So one transaction is created, and then on one transaction, we have 10 modifications. And I have to react all to these changes. And then I recreated my ETLs to transfer raw data asynchronous. So I wrote it to files, and then I read the files and transferred it to a table where includes only raw data in Exasol. And then from the raw data, I extract to normalized tables. So it was a challenge in ETL processes. Yeah. Next slide. So somehow it is now how it's look like. Today we have here digital and non-digital streams. Yes, you can here imagine the acquiring services coming immediately to Exasol. Yes, and sometimes the carrier billing data is still landing in the data warehouse. Then I make the extraction to Exasol, and from Exasol to the BI. So at the moment, we read nothing from the Oracle, only from the Exasol. So the BI in the cloud, yeah, we changed to the cloud in BI in 2025. And from the cloud, it's also reading perfectly. And every query is really, really good and very fast. And Exasol is very stable. I can say it's easy to it's an easy administration. It's easy to administer the system. I can look up the sessions with simple SQLs. What was not possible in Oracle. In Oracle, we have an outsourced administration because it's all knowledge, and I cannot react. When I have problems, I cannot react so fast. In Exasol, I don't have the problem. It's really, as I said in German, ohne Schnickschnack, and it does what it should do. So I'm really, yes, I was very astonished how fast is it, and how stable, and my cubes and data sets are loaded
So,
very
Miklos,
fast.
maybe already the first question from the
Yeah.
audience. I think that's a very good fit here on the slide because you mentioned cloud. So what is in the cloud? The question was this all on premises or was it in the cloud?
Mm-hmm.
Is the whole setup now on the cloud, or is it just the BI tool? What does hybrid mean? Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that.
In the cloud, we have our CRM system. Yes, but it's not shown here. And the BI, and the Exasol is an on-prem installation, and it was also possible so in the meanwhile we have the licensed edition since last year, and we have this installed on a virtual machine, on an Ubuntu Linux virtual machine, and we installed it ourselves, and BI tool is reading over a VPN connection from the Exasol on-prem.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Just mentioning to the audience, with that license, you could any time you could switch from the on-premise system to the cloud smoothly. So there is no distinguishment between the two platforms or the two deployment options. Another question regarding that setup here. You talk about real-time ETL. So what about real-time transaction reporting? Do you do that, and how do you set that up?
In the BI, we not only use for internal purposes as normal. We also offer BI, or a part of BI, or a project is implemented for our customers. And within this project, we have a real-time transaction dashboard. And I wanted to mention some words about it, how we feel it, because I often heard that, okay, they say real-time is that we get the data somehow over a Kafka queue, or I don't know, the change data capture into an application, and then the transactions as a normal ETL is written to the database. And yes, okay, the Exasol is very fast, and it can be read very fast, and it seems seamlessly. It's like a real time because of the fastness of the database. In our case, it's not so. This real-time ETL is a Java application, which reads data from the source systems over a change data capture. So it could be better over a Kafka queue, for example. But okay, and then we push the transactions directly to the BI. The BI have a REST API, and we can programmatically manipulate the data there. And at the same time, we also write it to Exasol. So the application pushes the data and writes the transaction to Exasol. And yes, and in the end of the day, when we reset the cubes, this is because of BI reasons, we have to reset the cube, and then we read also from Exasol the backup data every day, and then the cube is resetted, and in between the real time, the transactions are at the same time also pushed into the cube. But it is also working very nice, so very fine and very reliable. Okay, what we have some here I can tell you some performance. So as I mentioned in the past, when we loaded some cubes, it was not only transactional cubes on transactional basis. We have also in the carrier billing so-called subscriptions, and these data sets were tough reading, and we achieved the performance winning when we introduced Exasol really for 60 minutes to 10 minutes. So I wrote it, but from 60 minutes it was less than 10 minutes because, but I didn't want to exaggerate, but it was 5 minutes sometimes. So that was really amazing. That data load throughput 80% of the ATLs. And as I mentioned, our cost reduction, we have the problem with the costs. As I mentioned, the administration, because we haven't got a big team for BI and for this whole environment. So it's not a big team. It means that it's me in the company, and okay, I am supported by IT infrastructure of the company. So they help me in any case if I need something, an infrastructure or software, and but we don't have a team for database administration, and therefore is also very good that we have Exasol, because it's really, you don't have to administer anything. So some privileges, and it's well documented, and you can read this and make this, and it's not complicated, really not.
Miklos, there's one additional question coming from the audience. By query speed, do you mean query response time or data latency?
Query response. So the whole, from starting the query and the cube loading took. Yeah.
But then I guess if the data loading throughput also increased by 80%, then which means you can also analyze with less data latency. So it's more near real time processing, right? Okay.
Okay, next. Yes, on this slide, I shall present you the whole slide. So here I want to, yes, real-time analytics, scalability. I also mentioned them all. What was very good in my case that I done it, or I introduced this step by step. So it was not a okay, decision, okay, we take now Exasol, we introduced it. So in the mind, okay, just do it. Yeah, and then we transferred the data step by step, and the BI project we changed step by step. That is reading from Exasol, and it worked perfect, and therefore we decided then last year to take the licensed edition, because we also have these two parts. So these two, and it was too small. We have more and more data in it, and now we have one instance, and the carrier billing project and the credit card project on one instance. Some words about the next steps. The tool has also, Exasol has also this semantic layer. I will use to in the future, and now I'm also using this Python UDF scripting and the Lua scripting, and I try to use also the bucket file system to have data there. We can have we have not only sources from the data warehouse itself. Sometimes we pull some CSVs directly from the CRS system, or we have budget reports on different Excel files, and then on the Exasol, with the Python script, you can read this and push it into the data warehouse, to the data marts. So if we can say we use Exasol as a data mart, it's a data mart in the end. Okay, so we were here through, and yeah.
Thank you so much, Miklos. We have a couple of questions for the Q&A. Maybe starting the wrap up here first. If the audience wants to try Exasol out today, I mean, you are a great example of leveraging the free community edition. You can try it out today. You can download Exasol. There is a community edition, which is a pre-installed virtual image, that's what you used. There's also a Docker container available. There is a so-called Exasol Personal, which can be deployed even in the cloud on large clusters completely for free. So just wanted to mention that. So let's move on to the questions. First, you migrated from Oracle to Exasol. The question is, how long did it take, and what was the process?
So it was as a continuous transition. Yeah, began, okay. It took half a year, one a year. So at the first, at first, we have a parallelism. Yeah? A project was reading from the Oracle, from aggregated data, and we needed then where we needed. Parallelly, we had this data also in Exasol, and in other project they were reading Exasol, and step by step we moved all the projects to Exasol. So it was not a cut, okay, and today we read from Oracle and tomorrow only from Exasol, but it was, I don't know, 2 years, this transition, or so it's really was no stress in it, and it was a step by step thing.
Okay, and then the last question I have here on the list, unless others will raise additional questions, is you moved from the free community edition now to a licensed version, as you pointed out. What was the reasoning? Why did you then decide to switch to that commercial version?
As I mentioned, we had two instances, one for the carrier billing data and one for the card data. We wanted to have more performance and more storage. And because the community edition, you have 200 gigabytes raw data, and that was not enough any longer. And yes, and then also we got the latest version and the support, and I think it's more professional. Sooner or later, take the licensed edition.
Perfect.
Yeah, this was the reason. Yeah.
All right, then let's wrap up. Thanks again for taking the time and explaining your journey. I mean, it's a very interesting and prime example of how you started a free edition and solve your data challenges with Exasol. And to the audience, if you want to learn more, if you have additional questions after the session here, you can reach out to Miklos directly. Here's his phone number, but you can also contact us, contact myself or Miklos through LinkedIn or other media. So you will find that out very easily. And yeah, we are happy to follow up if you have any questions. Thank you very much. And I wish you a lovely day and a perfect working week.